Pushrod Fury. I certainly didn't have the bolts torqued. Huh. The leaking sound. I don't know who my handlebars. What is that?
Did that come out of
It did.
from underneath? Looks like.
Okay. So we removed all the goodies from the bike, and you have to almost remove everything. I didn't remove the handlebars all the way. They're still attached, but nothing's being stretched. And so this is, these felt fine, these bearings felt fine, but given the age of the bike, they probably wouldn't last very long. Because I don't think the grease is going to be in good condition. Before you take this off, you don't know what you're getting. I think it's going to be ball bearings, which are going to fall all over the place. So I'm going to have some help getting a paper towel and prevent the ball bearings from bouncing all over the shop and hiding underneath stuff and taking 5 years to find. So there's going to be bearings under here and bearings there. So we're going to put a paper towel around that collar in the back. Yep. And sort of anticipate that they're going to fall out. Don't want to lose our ball bearings. So I'm going to drop this down. Oop, they're not, yay, they're not balls. At least on the bottom, they're not balls. Whew, let's see what we have on the top. You can see the bearings in a nice race there. Let's see at the top. And sure enough, the bearings look like they're in good health, but the grease is gone. It's just, yeah, it's 40 years of it settling out. So I'm going to grease those up. We'll take a closer look. And so you can look at them. If there's score marks or rust, you have to replace them. And I went in this betting that they were going to look fine because the bike only has 3,000 miles on it and it was stored in a shed. And it wasn't too rusty. So it looks like the bearings are in good health. So there's no reason to replace them if they're healthy. I'm going to take a really close look at the races, and if they're not healthy, I'll show you. But if they're healthy, we're going to skip the show and tell and just reassemble this. All right, I'll be back later. So the races all look good, and we just need to grease the bearings. I cleaned these already, so they're spotless, and I set them out in the sun to get rid of the solvent. I just used a little bit of mineral spirits on a rag, made sure there's no grease, but I'm just going to put some nice coating grease on these little puppies. And everything looked nice and healthy. I can show you what that looked like. Those are the top bearings. There's the lower bearings. Plenty of grease. So there's the lower race, and you can see it's perfect. It's absolutely flawless. You can see where the bearings were, but it's silky smooth. So there's nothing that you can feel on it. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And then the same for the top race. You can see where the bearings are sitting, but there's absolutely nothing you can feel. It's just discoloration, but there's nothing on there that would interfere with good bearing performance. Oops. You can see that. Okay, and then we have everything all greased up over here, and we'll go ahead and assemble it. So let me put the camera over here. So I put the triple tree in. I mean, it's pretty simple. Just made sure that it went on. And now I'm just checking, do I have a nice smooth motion? Is it binding or anything? And you don't really need to get it perfect right now. You can always tighten that without removing everything from the bike. So, but in order to properly clean those races, we really did need to take the bike all the way down. And this feels bright. It's not binding. It's not too loose. That feels good to me. And let's see. So I'll put the lock nut on this, and then I'll install the upper tree. And there's a ton of videos on this. I just wanted to show you what it looks like in an XS that 78 does have the tapered bearings, at least mine did. It doesn't look like anyone was in there in the past. And with only 3,000 miles, I'd be shocked if someone was replacing steering stem bearings. Let's see if there's anything else to note. So it's going to be another turbo round. I kind of want to get the bike done. I kind of want to ride it and enjoy it. And I'm getting sick of like delays from errors and vendors and stuff like that. For the most part, it's been good. It's just been like miscommunication with part descriptions, like them showing there's 4 pieces in a pack and there's really only 1, which like for my jets caused a problem. Okay. Anyway, this feels really good. I think that's right. So I'm going to put it back together again and see if I can get it to continue to feel good. So I'm going to put the lock nut on. And again, I don't think there's a reason to be loading up this bearing. You don't want the bearing to bind. You want it to feel good. And it's going to settle in a little bit, so it might get loose, so I want to check on it. You can always go in here and tighten it. This feels right. It's not binding. Doesn't feel weird. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten that up. I think that feels perfect. Okay. So now we're going to go into reverse order here and install things. Took the whole headlight bucket off. So I think this might be a good spot for me to stop recording and clean this up better. So if you haven't seen this before, I'm going to go through this with the aluminum foil and salt water and clean this up. Again, I'm just going to go through this and tighten it. I'm going to pay real close attention to the torque settings on the fork clamps and so on, because every time I see these things over torqued, and you should just only do the torque specifications. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this up. I'm not going to show you that. You guys have already seen it. But go through this, make sure it looks nice and pretty before I put it back on the bike. All right, that'll be